You're welcome to my YouTube channel. In this presentation, I'll focus on the menstrual cycle. Do not forget to subscribe. After you have gone through this video, feel free to download it and share with your colleagues. The menstrual cycle becomes an important aspect of understanding maternal and child health. In this presentation, we'll focus on a good number of objectives that will ultimately help you understand this cycle in few minutes from now. The menstrual cycle itself is a series of cyclic, coming from the word cycle. So this is a series of cyclic events that take place in a rhythmic fashion during the reproductive period of a particular woman's life. This means that this cycle is systematic in nature. It usually begins at the age of 12, between 12 to 15 years, and this marks the onset of puberty, which at times will be referred to as menarche. It will cease between the age of 45 to 50, and this is what is termed as menopause. Now, it's actually important to note that at times, particular women or some women will develop what is known as early menopause. Even around 35 years, this menopause or the cessation of menstruation may occur. Each woman as an individual will have a variation in the length of the menstrual cycle. And of course, this is dependent on several factors. On average, the menstrual cycle will last 28 days and usually recurs from puberty until menopause, except during times when a woman falls pregnant. It is worth noting that the first day of the menstrual cycle is the day on which menstruation begins. And therefore, when you are posing a question before this particular woman as to when their last menstrual period was, the last menstrual period is calculated from the first day of menstruation. For graphical understanding of what the menstrual cycle is all about, it's important that we take into consideration the follicular phase, the ovulation, the luteal phase, which of course will be discussed in details. It's also important to take note of the key hormones that play a critical role in menstruation, such as progesterone and estrogen. Changes during the menstrual cycle. The changes during the menstrual cycle are divided into four main categories. The first is all about the ovarian changes. These are changes in the ovaries. Uterine changes, these are changes in the uterus. Cervical changes, these are changes that's around the cervix. Vaginal changes, these are changes that will occur in the vagina. And it's important to note that these changes occur simultaneously. We'll start with the first one, ovarian changes. Changes in the ovary will be discussed under two phases. We'll begin with the first one. The first phase is known as the follicular phase. Now, during this phase, one follicle in the ovary begins to mature, and this is as a result of the influence of the follicle-stimulating hormone, which is abbreviated as FSH. Now, follicle-stimulating hormone is released by the anterior pituitary gland, which should have, I think, have this understanding that the pituitary gland has the anterior and the posterior aspect. So the follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH, is released by the anterior pituitary gland following stimulation from the hypothalamus hormone known as gonadotropin releasing hormone. It's worth noting that as the follicle matures, the Graafian follicle, it will release large amounts of estrogen and little amounts of progesterone from the granulosa cells of the developing follicle. This phase ideally is, of course, discussed as the stage or the phase of proliferation, or it corresponds to the proliferative phase in the uterine cycle. Take note that on the 14th day of the cycle, the Graafian follicles undergoes ovulation. Now, ovulation is the process by which the Graafian follicle ruptures, releasing an ovum into the abdominal cavity after maturity of the follicle. When this process occurs, what is left behind is known as the corpus luteum, which is at times termed as the yellowish body. And of course, it secretes progesterone and little amounts of estrogen. Now, this phase is followed by a phase known as the luteal phase. During this phase, the corpus luteum, which is, of course, remaining as a yellow body, secretes a lot of progesterone that is responsible for the secretory developments of the endometrium. This phase corresponds to the secretory phase in the uterine cycle. How? Because it will make the endometrium more tortuous, as there will be so much supply to the inner lining of the uterus, which is now termed as the endometrium. The phase is under the influence of luteinizing hormone, which is abbreviated as LH. The corpus luteum, it is important to take note that it is responsible for maintaining pregnancy before full placentation occurs. And this will be usually after fertilization has occurred. Uterine changes also take a huge component of what we're discussing. Now, changes in the uterus will be subdivided into three. We'll start with the menstrual phase. The menstrual phase is characterized by vaginal bleeding and lasts for 3 to 7 days. In this phase, the endometrium is shed down to the basal layer along with blood and the unfertilized egg. Because fertilization has not happened, therefore, we will see this occurring. At times, this is termed as tears of disappointment. Now, this is followed by the proliferative phase. The proliferative phase follows the menstruation phase, and it will last until ovulation occurs around the 14th day. This phase is controlled by estrogen and involves the regrowth and thickening of the endometrium. That is why it is known as the proliferative phase. To proliferate is to grow. The third component of the uterine changes is the secretory phase. This phase follows the ovulation phase. After this, what will be noted that progesterone dominates this phase of the cycle and prepares the endometrium for the implantation of the ovum if fertilization has occurred. If fertilization does not occur, the endometrium is shed and enters the menstrual phase. It should be very clear here that cervical and vaginal changes are not so much pronounced. However, this is critical to the understanding of the menstrual cycle. I urge you to subscribe, to share the presentation, watch over it over and over again, so that you conceptualize and understand this presentation. Thank you for watching. Watch out for more videos, and please click subscription so that you can be notified when more videos are uploaded.